Hi everybody, I'm Christina Cassidy. I am a documentary filmmaker and I am AKA Docudramaqueen, and this is my blog. I hope you'll look at some of the blog posts that I've already written, and I hope they'll be helpful to you. Even if you're not a documentary filmmaker, there's some filmmaking tips that I think will be helpful for anyone who's trying to make an independent film. Well, today I want to talk about what I call the B word. My least favorite part of documentary making, and that's why I want to talk about it, because sometimes we have to talk about those things that we do not want to talk about. And that would be the word budget. Do not like the budget, do not like to think about it. However, it is a crucial part of making your film. If you think you're going to get away with making a film without spending a dime, let's talk, okay? You need to call me, because that's pretty rare. If you're independently wealthy, you're still going to pay for something. There's going to be costs, and you need to know beforehand as much as you can, because it's going to shift and change as you're making your film. You need to kind of chart this out so that you won't be totally blindsided later on when somebody says, well, you know, it's going to cost you this much to get your film audio sweetened. You're going to need to get it color corrected, and that's going to cost you $5,000 to $10,000. You know, you get up off the ground and dust yourself off and you say, why didn't I put that in a budget? So that's what I'm talking about today, making a budget. When I started my feature-length film, I didn't do that. I didn't start with a budget. I knew that I should do a budget. I kept dancing around whether I was going to do a budget or not. And the only thing that made me put together a budget was that I needed to get fiscal sponsorship. And the fiscal sponsorship people said, we're not really interested in talking to you until you have a budget. And I knew if I wanted to go for grants, I was going to need to have a budget. And I also knew that if people were going to donate to my project, they were going to want to know how much I was spending and why. So these are all the reasons that I was forced into doing a budget. Before I go on, let me just explain what fiscal sponsorship is in case you don't know. A fiscal sponsor is a 503, is it 501(c), 5013C, I think it is. That means that they are a non-profit organization, and they are allowed to, they take you on as a client, and they make it possible for you to get grant money that is funneled through them. Because a lot of foundations and grant funding organizations will not give you money up front. You have to go through a fiscal sponsor. It also allows people to donate to you, and they get a tax deduction. So that is somewhat appealing to people who are donating to your project, that they get some kind of tax break. There is about a 5 to 7% fee that fiscal sponsors charge, of course, that for what they do for you. So be aware of that as well. The only thing I'm going to say about a budget today is that I don't care what you start with as a budget, it's probably going to change along the way. It's either going to be lower or higher, or it's going to go all over the place. It's never what you think it's going to be. But you have to have a plan. You have to have it there so that you can make adjustments as time goes on. So that you can go, well, I can cut this. I don't need those lights for that shoot. Or, you know, I can get away with this. I need to negotiate with somebody and see if they can bring their fees down. All of this is part of having a budget. Next blog post, I will talk to you about some of the line items that you're going to need to think about when you're putting that budget together, and maybe where to go to look on how to do a budget. In the meantime, happy filmmaking.